everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do something different. I wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to do it because one, I fell in love with this look that I saw on Instagram, and two, I wanted to show you guys that even though you may not have the same eye shape or the same face shape or the same lips, and you love a look, you can still recreate it. You can make it your own. And there's also tips and tricks that I will show you, especially for people with hooded eyes, that you can kind of incorporate into your look. So the photo that I'm going to insert, this is by Your Stylish Self, and she does a lot of really nice, creative, a lot of very dramatic, a lot of editorial looks. But yeah, so I just fell in love with this look. I really did. And so I took a screenshot of it and I said, you know what, I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to show you guys that you can do it as well. Let me do my Instagram face. Give this video a thumbs up if you love this look and if you feel like I did a good job recreating it. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I welcome you to click the button down below and subscribe. Hit the little bell next to it so you get notified of all the new videos that I have coming up. And yeah, so let's get started.
So for a little extra hydration, I am using the Cover FX Radiance Custom Infusion Drops. These are going to sit and soak into my skin for a few minutes before I move on to anything else. And while I'm doing that and letting it soak in, I'm using the Urban Decay Primer Potion to set my eyes because we're going to be using a lot of shadows. I am not going to do my foundation first, and I'm going to start with eyes, so that is why I used an eye primer. Moving on, I'm setting a base, and this is the Revlon Photo Ready Eye Art. So one side is Use Eyes Glitter, the other side is pretty much, you can use this as a lid, line, lash, whatever you want, but it basically is just a base, and it sets really, really fast. I'm putting it on my eye because I want whatever shadows I place to really, really pop. So I recommend when you use this, go ahead and blend it out as I am as fast as you can because it sets so fast. And because I wasn't in love with the color, you could stop there, but I found this co-liner from MAC, and it's called Undercurrent, and it's so much like more of the color that I was looking for, and so pretty. So I decided to just kind of go over that. Don't have to do this again. Whatever green, dark green base you have is just fine, and the co-liner is a lot easier to blend out, so that was nice. Before I do anything else with my eyeshadow, I'm going to move on to brows. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Duo in medium brown. I eventually, and I do this off camera, I'm sorry I did not record, but I did wind up fixing a little bit of the outer edges with the Anastasia Brow Definer just to give it a little bit of a bolder look because that's the look that was in the photo. And the reason I'm doing my brows right now is because I like to do them because I feel like it frames your face and it gives you something to work against, and that's just a personal preference. Back to the shadows. I'm going to be using the Kat Von D Metal Matte Palette, and I'm super excited because I've not used this in a while and I haven't really had a chance to play with the colors. So I'm taking Buck on a small fluffy brush, and I am just blending out the edge of that green. So because I have a different eye shade from the photo of what I'm kind of copying this look from, I have more of a hooded eye and smaller lid. So I created a larger lid. So as you can see, I went above where my lid would typically stop and kind of went where the orbital bone is with the green color. And so now with the brown, as you can see, it looks like that is where my crease. So I just kind of lifted everything up. As you saw a second ago, I put some suede from the palette on a different brush, and it's also kind of like a pointy fluffy brush, and I am just basically blending out the brown. Then I am taking the color Bone and I'm placing that as a brow bone highlight, and it is matte. everything on the lower part of this palette is matte, and I did not love the look, and I don't believe that that's how it was in the photo. And so I went and I took White Frost from MAC, and it was perfect. So I used that on top, and it gave it a nice shimmer, super white, super bright, and it did a really nice job highlighting. Then I'm taking a pencil brush, and I am taking the color Jet, so it is just a dark, dark black, and I am placing that on the outer V of my eye. So using a pencil brush to apply this black color, it allows me to really define where I place this color. And because it's black, I really don't want to mess this up. So I really want it on the outer V, and it's doing a great job just kind of placing it where I need it to go. And then I'll be going back to blend it out. So I recommend that you use a very small brush that's going to be very dense, and that, especially with a dark color like black, and just place it where you need it, and then go in and take a brush and blend it out. So I'm just taking any fluffy brush and blending it out. Mixing a little bit of Ribbon and Oak on a big fluffy brush, I am now going over the black and doing a little bit of blending it out. So I'm kind of blending it out, but I'm also keeping it in the same place. But I don't want any harsh lines, and I don't just want it to look black. So mixing in those colors gives it some dimension, and you can kind of see the purple peek through. Now I'm going back to the lid, and I'm taking the color Moss on a flat definer brush. What a gorgeous color this is. I mean, again, green is my favorite color, so I love this green. And I had minimal fallout. I mean, this is kind of why I didn't do my foundation first, because I wasn't sure. But just an FYI, there was minimal fallout, some with the black, but not so much. But anyway, I am placing that over the base that I had laid down before. And so as you can see, that green is really, really popping out. And I will try to do a video to show you the difference when you put a base and when you don't. So now I'm going to go in with the metal shadows in this palette, and I'm going in with Watt, and I'm popping that on my finger. I feel like with those shadows you get a better payoff, and I'm just putting that all over my lid. And as you can see, it's just intensifying, but it's also now giving the sparkle back. Then I'm going over, it's kind of like a teal color, and another metal shadow in the palette called Ignite, I believe. And I'm just placing that again with my finger just on the very center of my lid. And now I'm just blending all that together and making sure that it is seamless. Now I'm going back in with the pencil brush with the dark black color on it. And I didn't put anything additional on it. I'm just using whatever's left on the brush, and I am just basically cutting out that crease a little bit more and making it more defined. And then I'm going in with that smaller brush that had, I believe it was oak or suede on it. It's just a brown color, and just basically diffusing it slightly. So I want it to be precise, but I don't want it to look, you know, like a straight line. Done with the upper lid shadows, and I'm going to clean everything under my eyes. So all of the fallout, and as you can see, it creates a nice sharp line on the side there, so that's pretty neat. Okay, so moving on to our skin. I'm going to be using the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, and I always like to pair this with a particular Becca foundation that I use. I find they go great together, and I'm just placing that all over my face. For foundation, I am using the Becca Ultimate Coverage Complexion Cream in the color Cashmere. I really like this foundation. I reach for it a lot, and it is just great coverage, and it's so thin. It's just fantastic. So I'm just taking a kabuki brush, and I'm going to be blending that into my skin, and I usually like to start on the bottom, center of the face, and work my way outwards. And I know I've mentioned this before, but if anyone new is watching, the reason I do it this way is because you typically will need the most coverage in the center of your face, and this way you can blend it outward. And then moving on to the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, using the color Light, and I'm just going to be dabbing it in little dots under my eye and blending it out. And I'm also placing it in all the other places that I typically put my concealer, as you can see where they are. I'm going to be trying a brush that I believe is for concealer. I don't know why, the way it's shaped, I thought maybe it was for that, so I thought, let me try it. It did a pretty good job. It's a Trish McEvoy brush. I've had it forever and ever and ever, and it did a good job. But because it's so small, I don't know if I would use it day to day. And so I kind of mixed the two. I mixed the brush and then I went back to my fingers, and I really like to blend it out with my fingers at the end. It really does a nice job of warming up the product and really melting it into your skin. I'm gonna set my concealer with the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder, and I'm using the puff that comes with it. And this gives such a flawless finish, and that's why I'm using it, because this is a super, super full coverage look, and I wanted the face to look super, super flawless. So this will give you that look. And what I'm doing is just dabbing that into wherever I put concealer to lock it into place. And whatever is remaining, as you can see, I'm just dusting that off. To contour my face, I'm going to be using the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpting Powder in the shade Medium, and I'm going to be doing a pretty significant contour in my cheeks and definitely on my forehead, because I always like to kind of round it out and make it look a little bit smaller, and then placing a little bit under my jawline there just to kind of even everything out. And then I'm going back to the MAC Care Blend that I've been using recently, and the shade that I'm using is dark, and this is just to give my face a little bit more color. I'm using it as a bronzer. Even though it's a powder, it does a really, really nice job of blending into the skin, looking, you know, natural and like you're bronzed. And then again, because this is kind of like a full coverage, super dramatic look, I am going to be contouring my nose as well. When you do that, by the way, make sure you connect it to your brows. Then I'm moving on to blush, and I'm using Milani's Fake Blush in Luminoso. So this is the dupe for Orgasm, goes with every look. And in the photo that I was looking at, she kind of had this very similar blush. So I thought it would go perfect with this look. And then I don't know if I showed it on here, but I used Champagne Pop, and it just didn't look right with this look. And again, in the photo, she had a super dramatic, almost like a white icy highlight. And I'm like, whoa, because I am not used to that. That's just not my look typically. But again, this is more of like an editorial look, so I thought it would be fun to do. So what I did there is I used White Frost, which is what I use for brow bone highlight. Then I went back into the palette, the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette, and I used Ignite, which is one of the metal shades that I used on the center of my lid. And as you can see, I'm popping that, using that as my inner corner highlight, and then dabbing a little bit more of that White Frost smack dab in the middle just to kind of really make it pop. Then I'm using my trusty Marc Jacobs gel liner, and I am like really tight lining, making sure I'm not missing any spots. I'm also placing that in my waterline, and again, making sure it's super dark. Using the Tarte So Fine, this is kind of like a felt tip liquid liner pen. I am going to be making kind of like a cat eye on the inner tear duct of my eye, as you can see. And that's just gonna elongate the inner portion of your eye, and again, give it more of a cat eye look. And this is a fantastic felt tip liner, and I highly recommend it. I've used it a few times, especially if you want something like I'm doing right here, which is an incredibly thin line just where my lashes are. I am not winging it out, but I do want to darken that area up just a little bit. Taking that same pencil brush from earlier, I placed a little bit more of jet on it, and I am just smoking it out on my lower lash line. Popping some moss onto that same pencil brush, I am just going to continue smoking out the lower lash line. This gives it a little bit of a pop from the black, so it's not completely black. You do see a pop of green there, which is so beautiful. Okay, so now I'm curling my lashes, and I'm going to coat them with this, I always forget how this is called, like Sills Booster. This is a Lancome mascara base, and it's basically supposed to make your lashes thicker. So really take the time to put that all over my lashes. And I said, you know what, let me try a different mascara, because everyone raves about this one. This is the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I wasn't loving it. This is like my second or third time, so I don't know, maybe it's just me. But anyway, I switched over to the Lancome Excessive Black Noir Mascara. I think this is the Hypnose Drama. Yeah, this one is a fabulous one. And I spent a lot of time on my lashes. I did not put falsies on, so I made sure to do several coats on the top lashes, and then on the bottom lashes, I used the MAC Instacurl Lash. Lips, this was a little tricky, so I started out with the Wet n Wild. This is their liquid lip in Take It Like a Vamp, and it is a fabulous color, and it is slightly drying, as most liquid lips are. But you gotta take the time to really carve out your lips because it's super dark. The reason I was having a little bit of an issue is I was trying to get a very similar color to the photo. So I used MAC's Party Line and still didn't get it, and I went to my Vice palette. And this is why these are great, because you can customize anything you want. And so I took a little bit of a purple color and a red color, and it was perfect.
Hey guys, so this is the final look. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful and useful, and I hope some of the tips were helpful for people like myself who have hooded eyes, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.